Hello everyone, what's up? Welcome back to Force Strategy Gaming, and welcome back to Purgatory. Here at Purgatory, we keep you up to date on all things Diablo 3 related. Today we're going to be discussing the randomization of loot in Diablo 3, the Diablo 3 trading system. We'll be taking a look at item binding in the game, PvP, the end game, and the upcoming May 9th conference call. So with that said, we're just going to jump right into the first topic, which is going to be the randomization of loot in Diablo 3. In last week's New York Times, there was an article written by Seth Scheisel, and he basically cataloged his experiences with the time spent at Blizzard Irvine playtesting Diablo 3. He did spend some time with the game. I believe he said about an hour or so. But what he did in the article is he goes into depth about the importance of randomization in the game, and that's definitely the case. If you don't already know, randomization is pretty much all Diablo is. That's what the world of Diablo has always been. The dungeons are randomized, the world itself is randomized in terms of encounters, what you come into. Aside from things like towns, main paths, and specific boss fights, the entire game is just all about randomization. Now that goes into play with the gear as well. You can kill any monster in the game and you have the chance of getting any piece of gear, and that gear itself is randomized. The stats on the gear are randomized. Every time a piece of gear drops that you think would be similar, it's going to be completely different in terms of the bonuses and the attributes attached to the piece of gear. Now with that said, and with randomization being such a large part of the game, obviously while building your character you want to focus on certain things. You've got a certain type of build and you want to focus on certain attributes. So a trading system becomes really important, because chances of you getting all the gear that you in particular want for your character are slim to none. And he goes in the New York Times article, basically he goes into discussion about how the trading system is so important, and it's actually one of the reasons why the game has been so delayed. Now, something else really exciting to be taken from the article is that he did ask Jay Wilson about kind of the progress and where they are in terms of the game and its release. And Jay Wilson quoted from him is, "We're definitely in the home stretch. We're crunching. This is when the magic happens." So here we are reconfirming our suspicions that the game is still aiming for this year. As they've said in the past, they've said they're trying to come out with the game this year. And to have an article as recent as of last week stating that they're in the home stretch, that's pretty exciting news, I would have to say. But only a few days after that New York Times article, there was a post on Diablo3.cc. And what this post was an interview with Jay Wilson. So I think around the same time that the New York Times spent in Blizzard Irvine, Diablo3.cc, a representative from there, also was at Blizzard Irvine, and they basically just talked about some things in the game. There's going to be no item binding in Diablo 3. PvP may have a chance in terms of competitive action, and we're going to be talking about the end game. So let's start with the first one, which is no item binding in Diablo 3. Well, there it is. There will be no binding whatsoever. So bind on equip, bind on account, bind on pickup. Basically, pieces of gear will never be permanently attached to a character. You can wear a piece of gear for however long you want, and then whenever you're done with it, whenever you get an upgrade, you can trade it. Chances are, whatever type of trading system we have, if it's going to be an auction house, you're going to be able to throw it right up in there and actually get some money for it. Some people are upset by this. A lot of people like bounded gear, and they like the idea of using that to pull it out of the economy. But with salvaging in the game, that's basically supposed to be the replacement for pulling gear out of the economy. The thought is that we're going to be salvaging these items so that we can make items with our artisans, and that's what's going to keep these items from flooding the economy. Now, in terms of the PvP, I did mention how there might be a chance for competitive action. Basically, what was stated was that Jay Wilson said they were entertaining the thought of official tournaments and competitions in PvP, and this is absolutely thrilling news, I would have to say. The fact that they're even considering this means that the functionality may very well be there. And even if official tournaments and competitions don't take place on a regular basis, or if it's not a big focus, if they have something as simple as a replay function or observation mode, you can bet your bottom dollar that I'm going to be hosting Diablo 3 PvP tournaments. It's going to happen. I'm thinking as early as the beta, as long as that opportunity is there. And then later down the road, if the option for the possibility of something even resembling a competitive play and esports likeness, if that ever comes into play, that would be quite exciting, I know, for a lot of players as well. The biggest issue with PvP and balance, and what Jay Wilson said specifically, was that it's so hard due to the heavy focus on customization in Diablo 3 to actually balance the game to an esports level. But with that said, I mean, they could even do preset characters for these competitions where everyone's got these kind of base stats and this base gear to work with, and then the competitive action just comes from the player's choice of skills as well as their ability to perform in the arena. And then lastly, in this Diablo3.cc post, there was some talk of endgame, and what we're looking at for endgame is, as I've talked about before in prior Purgatories, Magic Find will be in the game, but it's not going to be the primary focus of the endgame, which it pretty much was in Diablo 2. You were done, you were leveled pretty much at or near the cap, and then all you did was just throw on Magic Find gear, run around, and do runs to try to get some better items. Well, that's still going to be in the game, but it's not going to be as heavy as a focus. Magic Find is just going to be one part of the endgame. Obviously, arenas are going to be looking to be another part, and there are other unannounced systems that are going to be in place for the end game that we'll be finding out in the not too distant future. And then lastly, we have the May 9th conference call. Now, this is just around the corner. We are actually less than a week away or something along those lines. I think it's less than a week. Yeah, it should be. It's the 4th today. But what is this? Well, the May 9th conference call is going to be a conference call from Blizzard and Activision. And this is basically where they talk to their investors. But the reason this is important is because this is the date that we have been told we're going to hear more information about the beta. And there has been basically a continuous confirmation that they are looking to release the game in 2011. And with that said, then a beta should be starting within the next couple of months. So come May 9th, we should be getting a much better idea of when that beta is going to start, and as soon as we get more information, I will go ahead and let you guys know. So that just about does it for this episode of Purgatory. Thank you guys so much for listening. Stay tuned for future Purgatory episodes where we're going to be keeping you up to date on all things going on in the Diablo 3 universe. And again, look forward next week to hearing something about the beta come May 9th. So there you have it, guys. As always, keep watching and keep owning.